Good afternoon. Hey, welcome to my racket. I run 3D printers. We have a farm, or what I like to read, sometimes I refer to as the little factory. There's a big cheaty like this, but it's a big one, sitting off camera here. You can't see it. And there's also, besides this one, I also have a longer LK5 Pro that's back in my office that I still use when I do first initial prints and stuff for checking stuff out when I first draw something up. Right now, both of these machines are running because I need inventory replenishment, basically, and that's something again that is really going to call on you when if you decide to go 3D print and you're going to build a little farm or something. You're going to want a certain amount of inventory backup, and that's part of the problem. Is it's kind of like a balancing act of how much of this stuff should I make and have it laying around and have it ship out. So it's been kind of a feel the market, see the demand, and realize, okay, we need 5 of these parts at all times ready to go, or we need 10 or 12 of these pieces and of each item or something ready to go. It's been kind of an interesting ride. This is our first full year of 3D printing and farming with it. So it's kind of been a learning curve. Now last year before this, we started with like one product, put it on Etsy or whatever, and watched it, and was kind of like, it's selling, and it really surprised me. I have to admit, it surprised me that it sold, way more than what I would have expected. We didn't see our first sale, I think, for a couple of months, but then it started coming in, and it started, more and more started pouring in. So it was like, this is kind of interesting situation here. We're able to draw the stuff up on Fusion 360, market it on Etsy, sell it. It's like, wow. Plus I have clients that contact us for replenishment stock for stuff that they need that we make. So it's like, this has actually turned into a busy little factory. A couple of things I wanted to knock off today, because I've got 3 products coming in today that have not shown up, and it's getting late in the day. So I sort of wanted to get something out on a Thursday to you guys, because I always have a Thursday show, and it was like, I got nothing. But I am busy with what's going on here, so I thought, well, we'll look in on, see how things are going. SK1. This is actually a really good machine. It looks like a P1P from Bamboo Labs. It has the same build plate size. It's kind of the clone of the P1P, but Two Trees did a really interesting job with it. Use Orca Slicer. That's all I use for this. I tried Prusa and some of the other slicers and had issues, but the Orca Slicer seems to just live with this machine without any problems. It's high speed, so that's what I want. The build plate is 256. I've said it again and again, so I hate to beat an old horse down the road, but I will say it again. The 256 kind of removes it from my market, from what I need. I need 300, by 300 size build plates or bigger for some of the product, and also need, for the small stuff, I really could only work with, say, 150 to 180 build plate size. That's all I need. So this one falls in the, it's too big for this kind of stuff, and it is not big enough for that kind of stuff. So it's like, well, we'll live with it. And in fact, I've got a little job running off on it right now that could be run on the cheaty, but I just run on the SK1. The SK1 loves doing it, does a good job. Have at it, do it. The cheaty has been a real awakening thing, because it's not a company that you don't hear. Everybody talks about the Ender 5, the Prusa, the Bamboo Lab. I think that's about what, the 3. Oh, Creality. You hear that name out there quite a bit, which is Ender 3 anyways. But those are the machines you kind of hear a lot about, and you don't really hear about machines like cheaty, Two Trees, that kind of thing. But I must say, cheaty has really started to get my interest up a lot. We have a commercial cheaty machine in here that I did a show about a few weeks ago. Somebody called it a piece of junk. Well, that piece of junk, I bought it through a online market thing where somebody was just dumping it for $200. Picked it up immediately, brought it to the house, and within, I guess, a week and a half, it has paid for itself. Yeah, it's like, for a piece of junk, it's doing pretty darn good. And I wish the build plate was a little bit different on it, but it's a really solid machine. You put the file in, you plunk the print it, and you basically at that point you just walk away because it will print it and you don't have a problem. One of the products I got coming in is actually a Bamboo Lab item, but it's made for Bamboo Lab, but it will fit perfectly on the SK1. Same build plate. So we'll be testing it when it comes in, and it should be sort of interesting because it should change the dynamics of 3D printing a little bit, and it'll probably help this machine out a little bit too. Really don't have too much complaint about this. Probably the biggest problem I have is I always have to switch everything to PEI sheets. I don't use anything else. You know, the PEI sheets work great, and I love the way you can just flex the plate, pop the model off, put it back on the machine, and get back to work and start the machine back up and get your next print going. Because a lot of times I've got 2 and 3 and 4 prints waiting to go on the job to get them knocked out. Again, because of 3D print farming, I try to keep a certain amount of inventory. Now the big stuff that I make for the online sales, I try to keep at least 2 to 3 pieces of each model in stock at all times, because I've had, you know, weekends where all of a sudden I've got 2 and 3 orders come in for the same item, and it's like, boom, we're out of stock. You know, that was it. That's all we had in that particular model. So I have to hustle, get the machines up and running, and start pumping some more inventory out to refill that hole, because as we slide into like Monday of that, after that weekend or something, you end up getting more orders, and it's like, man, to fill these orders, sometimes we've had trouble catching up, and this happened again just in the last few weeks. Right around that Black Friday time, a lot of people slammed us for stuff, and was actually making product that, overnight that would be shipped that morning, because you know, we didn't have any stock left over, and it's good. You know, it's like, hey, I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's take a quick look at a simple trick. These are in the garage, and they get filthy easily. There's sawdust and all kinds of junk I'm doing that flies around the room in here. So these particular 3 machines, actually this one's not that bad. This is fully enclosed, so it's almost like never a problem. But these other 2 here can be a real bear. All of a sudden you go to start a print up and it won't stick, and you got problems with the plate, you got to clean the plate and mess around with it and stuff. So I found out on my own, yes, well, this was me, I get these really nice Microsoft towels, and I pick them up at like Sam's Club, bundle of them. But I take this when I'm done, and if I'm not going to be using this printer, I just do that. I just lay the cloth over like that. So when I come back in a couple days or something and I want to print, I just whip that off and start printing, and I don't have the problems. I don't have any stick problem, anything like that, because the plate has remained clean and dust free, you know, while it's sitting and waiting for the next job. Because the next job might be 2-3 days, could be a week, you know, and it's like, that's so simple. Just when you go to use it, just whip it off, and ready to go. You heard that first here. That was your tip for today for 3D printing, you know. The other thing I have done, and I'm still kind of, I guess you could say, on the fence about it, but this one here is running half the speed it can run. It's running full speed for an longer LK5 Pro default setting, but I can double that speed using the slicer and then run it. Now I haven't done it today with this. I should have, but I did not. And I started the print up and then I realized, you know, probably should have went the long way around, got the STL file, set up the slicer, and then set the speeds and the nozzle and everything up I wanted. And the reason I can is I have a high flow nozzle in there, and also besides using the high flow nozzle, I use about 10 to 20 degrees Celsius more. I just up the nozzle temperature a little bit more for the settings, and I can easily, instead of 35 millimeters a second squared or whatever, I can use 70. You know, I can push this thing. I'm thinking about doing an experiment because I have not reached the speed of whatever this is capable of, because I have tried up to 70, 80. It's still printing fine, so I'm not really sure how fast we can go. I'm thinking we should be able to go over 100, and I may still be able to just do fine with it, because it's just with the high flow nozzle, I'm not really sure where the point is of where, okay, we're starting to get layer line or problems or whatever, because it's just not showing. It's not showing up on this. Just in case anybody gets crazy too, this is not a CR10. It's not even a modified CR10. It was never a CR10. In fact, I tried the CR10 profile with this machine, and we had some glitches and failures, so it was like, okay, it's not going to work. But I'm using, like right now, this particular model is running, it's running off a longer LK5 profile, and it will run that fine. It won't have any problems with it, so there'll be no hang-ups or weird stuff going on. And it's modified so it will run higher speeds. I've totally changed the carriage and how it runs on the, up here. And I've also, like I said, put the nozzle in, cleaned all the belts, tightened them and stuff, so it was like, everything is good to go. This thing has been doing really well for an old printer for $30 from a yard sale. It's actually doing really good. I guess the only issue is I may never know where this printer ever came from, because it's such a, it's like a kit bash thing of parts that was like, never should have been assembled like this, but there it is. It's doing its job. Leave it alone, and this trick here, I also do this with this machine. Same thing. Just throw a nice clean Microsoft towel over the bed when we're not in use, and that way it keeps it nice and clean and fresh for when we come back. And that way there's no build of dust buildup or any weirdness going on. Hey, thanks for watching Coffee and Tools. Please like, share, subscribe, and ring the notice bell, and we'll have some more stuff about 3D printing. I just know it. This one's finished the job already, so that's great. That's why I love high speed. It's like a couple hours, it knocks it off. That is fabulous. In fact, I've got to switch color and run the same job over again, because we need 8 colors, for that job. So got some work ahead of me. Right. Hey, over and out.